Welcome one and all, I'm Decoy, and by request I've got a little bit of a flux farming guide for you. I've got several locations from around the map. Now, in the interest of saving time, I'm not going to go into detail of every last little thing you can find within the nuke zone if you hit this area, but we are going to highlight the main type of flux you will be aiming for if you hit that spot. Now, with all that being said, if you are going out hunting flux, a couple of things you're probably going to want is you're going to want green thumb and good with salt. You're going to want green thumb because it's going to give you more flux, and you're going to want something like good with salt because it's going to make your flux spoil slower. Also, you're going to want to hit something before you go after your flux. You're going to want to go after your glowing mass, hardened mass, and high radiation fluid because they don't spoil. So you're going to want that before you go after flux, because if you do it the other way around, some of it's going to spoil and it just kind of sucks. So if you're going after all that, Morgantown is probably one of your best bets. Try to make sure that you get the airport and the train yard in there as well. And just as a little bonus, there's a fair amount of cobalt that you can scrounge up in the area. Next up, I've got to mention the White Spring. It's like an honorable mention because you can get a nice mix of everything at White Spring. That's part of the reason why White Spring gets nuked so often. Most of the time, if you see something getting nuked, it's one of three things. It's either the Queen, White Spring, or Morgantown. Which brings us to our next spot, which is actually down by the Queen, because we're going after Crimson, and you can find a decent amount of Crimson and Violet down near the Queen fight area, but really all down along the bottom you should be able to come up with a decent amount of Crimson. So hey, even if you don't want to drop a nuke, just remember, hey, go swing down by the Queen fight and get you some flux. Maybe fight the Queen, you can get some flux as a reward. Next up, we've got Cobalt. Now for this one, you're going to want to aim at Spruce Knob Lake. There's a fair amount around that area for you to collect. Of course, you can find some other stuff too, but like I said, I really only want to focus on one thing at a time. And hey, maybe you teach those settlers a lesson, a thing or two, and you get to watch them magically put on hazmat suits. Next up, we've got Fluorescent. So for this one, there's a decent area where you can find a bunch of it, but you're going to want to kind of aim between the dam, the penitentiary, and the airport, or you can aim a little bit further down and go between, say, like the airport and the junkyard. So there's a pretty big area there. Next up, we've got Violet. So on this one, you're going to be heading up kind of towards the water park, but try to aim like right in this area and you should come out fairly solid. I would try to avoid hitting the workshop. Try to keep off to the right of the workshop. Next up, we've got Yellowcake. So for this one, we're kind of going between the west entrance of Big Bend Tunnel and RNG Station. So if you hit around that area, you should be able to pick up a fair amount. So that's going to wrap up all those locations that I got for you. I hope you've enjoyed those. Now if you've got a cooler spot, by all means hop down in the comments, share it with the rest of the community. But that's all I've got for you today. I hope you've enjoyed this. As usual, please remember to like, sub, and share. Later.